Hello, everyone. I'm Derek Ellis,
And I'm Jerome Nelson.
and we are so excited to have another PNY podcast. And we
Yeah.
have a special guest again today. I'm so excited. He's one of our very own here from PNY. It's Carl Flygare. He is our professional visualization marketing manager, and he's been with us for a little bit over 20 years as well.
Yeah.
So he has a great wealth of knowledge, and I'm so excited to just see what we can, pick out of his brain in this little
Yeah.
bit of time.
Yeah. I know you have a lot of knowledge on the different subjects when it comes to NVIDIA and just technology across the board. So, Carl, welcome.
Well, thank you, Derek and Jerome, and very happy to be with you. We're going to be covering the NVIDIA Ada Lovelace Architecture professional graphics boards, the NVIDIA RTX 6000 Ada and the NVIDIA RTX 4000 SFF Ada. But before we dive into specifics on a given board, I think it's important to call out commonalities across the two products. And the most important one clearly is the fact that they're based on NVIDIA's latest Ada Lovelace architecture, which really is optimized for use by professionals and delivers the kind of power efficiency, artificial intelligence capabilities, and FP32 compute that you folks really need to be productive and iterate and be as creative as possible across disciplines ranging from media and entertainment to product design and manufacturing, or science and technical computing, so many markets. We'll dive into those in a little more detail.
Yeah.
But the
So,
first thing clearly is NVIDIA Ada Lovelace, which is the newest microarchitecture available from NVIDIA. And NVIDIA essentially completely reimagined the hardware for Ada to deliver the attributes that I've been talking about. Uh, New features are numerous, but one of the core ones are a new streaming multiprocessor. These are also known as CUDA cores that, at least in the case of the RTX 6000 Ada, are capable of providing up to 90 teraflops of FP32 single precision compute performance to accelerate graphics and compute up to 2 times over the prior generation Ampere architecture boards.
Yeah.
You've also got third generation RT cores, and that's no small thing. They also can provide up to two times faster ray triangle intersection than previous generation. And ray triangle intersection is a primitive that is essential to delivering real-time photorealistic ray trace rendering.
so
Uh,
Carl. So Carl, just a quick question. So we're talking about RT cores and we're going to be, diving into the Ada Lovelace. So I guess from maybe someone that may be in media entertainment or someone
Mhm.
might be in manufacturing, anything like that. Like I guess, I know a lot of people talk about RT cores and CUDA cores and,
Yeah.
GPU memory plays a big part. So like, I guess when you think about that, like how does that play a role like in all these different markets that we touch?
Well, when you talk about RT cores, when markets like media and entertainment come to mind, or a manufacturer and product design environment, particularly one where you may have multiple people collaborating in either of those markets from geographically disparate locations, making sure things can happen in real time is a big deal because that enhances the creative workflow and enhances productivity and simply lets you get more done quicker, or allows you to explore more product design opportunities and alternatives, or if you're in the M&E space, more ways of trying to tell your digital story.
Mm.
So these third generation RT cores deliver up to twice the performance of the prior generation Ampere architecture products, which basically means the kind of things that used to take an hour, you're now capable of doing in like 30 minutes. You can spend that time to create, more elaborate product designs or more complex scenes and lighting, or you could use it to explore additional, product design alternatives or creative options in terms of how to tell your story that you could pitch to a producer or director. Uh, Another very important feature is something called an opacity map, which we'll talk about in the context of something called DLSS3 a little later. But again, it applies to both media and entertainment as well as product design and manufacturing. There have also been subtle improvements. There's a displaced micro mesh engine that can create micro triangles on the fly to increase geometric complexity without additional performance or memory storage costs. So if you're in manufacturing or media and entertainment, more precise, more elaborate models, but they fit more efficiently into GPU memory. And this is a big deal because, you know, I'm old enough that I remember MTV, and there was the saying, too much is never enough.
Oh, the good old
Uh,
days of MTV.
Right.
I grew up on that.
That's extremely true of GPU memory. You can never have too much of it.
Mhm.
Okay.
And at the same time, I should also mention that the level 2 cache size on the, you know, NVIDIA Ada Lovelace GPUs has been significantly extended. I'm going to geek out for a moment and just talk about something called shader execution reordering, which basically improves real-time shading efficiencies when you're doing renders. This is a feature that has to be supported by developers, but developers are embracing it, implementing it in the latest versions of their applications. So those of you in manufacturing, product design, media and entertainment, other disciplines, will soon be benefiting from this. You know, the Ada is actually the first GPU that's offered anything like this in basically the history of GPUs. It's as significant as out of order execution was for CPUs back in the 1990s. So it's a big deal. Even though, you know, we talk about AI in so many contexts, I mean, AI is everywhere. It's almost like the air we breathe. I mean, if you're doing manufacturing and product design, you're probably using an AI augmented or enhanced application. If you're in media and entertainment or something as humble as you know, I guess I shouldn't say humble, but Photoshop, which has been around since 1987,
Right.
now has a series of neural filters built into it that allow AI to do in a matter of, you know, fractions of a second or just a few seconds, things that used to be laborious, do by hand operations that could take, you know, minutes or even half an hour or an hour. So the kind of things AI lets you do in media and entertainment, de-aging comes to mind. You want to show an actor at different points in their life, avoid expensive and possibly not so good looking prosthetic makeup. Well, you know, neural filters can age or de-age the talent. You can also use voices and, you know, change dialogue using AI or have the AI generate the voice of an actor who may be deceased if you've licensed that actor's voice. So there are all kinds of amazing things you can do in media and entertainment with AI. But the 4th generation tensor cores in Ada, again, up to twice the performance of the previous Ampere generation. They support something called the new FP8 data format that reduces data storage, which gets back to the whole too much GPU memory is never enough. There's an optical flow accelerator that can be used by a technology NVIDIA's introduced alongside Ada called DLSS3 or deep learning supersampling that
Okay.
actually lets you take, say, a full HD resolution image that you're real-time ray tracing and using the capabilities of the optical flow engine, upscale it to 4K with results indistinguishable from native ray traced rendering at 4K resolution. This is for the final feature I'd like to point out, and it's for anybody across any market where you have to work remotely with other folks, is NVIDIA has done a lot of work in Ada Lovelace with video encode and video decode. So you have 3 decode and 3 NVIDIA encode hardware engines, along with support for a new AV1 codec. AV1 is kind of the follow-on to MPEG-4 or H.265. Gives you the same kind of quality, but at a 40% lower bit rate. So if you look at having to stream your content out, or you're doing collaborative design reviews in product design and manufacturing, having this ability to deliver higher quality over less bandwidth is extremely important. I should also point out that in some environments, we also have 4 JPEG hardware decoders, which if you're doing AI augmented image processing, across fields related to human robotics interaction, or perhaps even security or surveillance monitoring of critical processes. Very, very powerful capability to have.
Okay. Yeah, and I think Carl too, like one thing that you really hit there, and I feel like it'll probably be like its own podcast episode in itself, and
Mhm.
Jerome talks about it a lot too, is just AI,
Yeah.
especially from you and I, and you as like, well, both of us,
Mhm.
we're heavily involved in content creation. So
Right.
I don't know, you can share, like, you remember, was it yesterday? Like Carl brought up Photoshop, and like you
Yeah.
told it what to do, and it was like done in like seconds.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really interesting because again, with these different plugins, and I know a lot of different things are in beta at the moment. Because again, as you said, the Photoshop beta is out. And again, if anyone has like the Adobe suite or anything like that, I urge you to try out these different kinds of these different AI processes that are available to the public to kind of get your hands on what AI can actually do. Because it's really interesting to kind of hear about it and sit back, but to be able to actually use it with your own hands and to be engaged with it, I feel like that makes just that big of a difference.
Yeah.
So again, I was able to kind of mess around with the AI in the sense of using Photoshop, and again, it just kind of is mind blowing to see what you can actually do. And again, it's in different instances, not just Photoshop, but again, the whole Chat GPT era where it comes to some of
Yeah.
this stuff. So
Yeah, and I think like the example that we're gonna give was, we had a picture of a GPU that we're gonna use on social media, and we're like,
Mhm.
all right, we saw the beta, like we got the notification, like, oh hey, let's try it out. So Jerome was
Mhm.
like, hey, let's go ahead and put a hand inside of this,
Yeah.
picture, and kind of like you see the GPU here. So first and foremost, we do have, the audio version, but if you're a visual person, head over to our YouTube channel, PNY Pro.
Mhm.
We have a GPU in front of us, so we literally took a picture of just the GPU by itself, and then he said, "Put a hand here," and the hand's like right here.
Yeah, it's like
It's
grabbing a
just like,
GPU.
and it looked good.
Right, exactly. It's crazy.
So, yeah, Carl, I think you hit a big point on that. I mean, AI is definitely, I think, the future. We spoke about, I mean, you did a really good deep dive as the architecture and just, what it has to offer. And I know as of right now, NVIDIA offers, the NVIDIA 6000 Ada, then we also have the NVIDIA RTX 4000 SFF Ada
Mhm.
generation. So how do you think, like, we kind of hit this 6,000 there with the 4,000. I know that's kind of targeting more of your small form factor users and workstations. Like, I guess, what were your thoughts on the 4,000?
Well, I think if you look at the 4000 ADA, I mean, to really democratize technology, it has to be available at a variety of different price points. And if you look at the first of the Ada Lovelace products that was introduced, the RTX 6000 Ada, it's a flagship product. It's a statement product. It's the most powerful professional graphics board NVIDIA is capable of building in mass quantities today. I'm sure they've got something in the labs that's more powerful, but it can't be built in volume right now. The RTX 4000 SFF is about lowering the price point, lowering the power requirements, allowing it to be used in a much wider range of system enclosures as implemented by Ada Lovelace, because the visual computing market opportunity is staggeringly large. There really isn't anything you don't do over the course of a day that GPUs don't touch. I'll start with media and entertainment. If you look at what's coming out of Hollywood or all the streaming services or out of Vancouver or Europe or the global market, 6.5 billion render hours per year. Well, again, real-time rendering with RTX with AI assistance is critically important to that audience.
Mhm.
If you switch gears and look at manufacturing and product design, 30,000 new products are launched every year, 30,000. And those are being designed in silico on cards like the 6000 Ada and 4000 SFF Ada before physical prototypes are ever built. We haven't mentioned it yet, but architecture, engineering, construction, and operations is huge.
Yeah.
And VR has really taken off in that segment. In fact, 74% of US architectural firms utilize VR, either during the design process or to show customers what their project would look like at, say, different times of day, different weather conditions, different materials, so they can essentially nail what the customer needs and get it just so. And I mentioned AECO because there's construction, construction is growing rapidly and is estimated to reach $22.8 trillion this year. We're talking huge amounts of money.
Yeah.
Again, I'll go back to manufacturing. Bringing computer-aided engineering earlier into the design process benefits everyone. And Ada Lovelace, with the ability to bring AI into the equation, to look at technologies like generative design, or how do you change a component to be built by additive manufacturing as opposed to subtractive manufacturing, is a big deal to product designers. And validating the design early on can save companies tremendous costs rather than discovering an issue with the design much closer to launch. Finally, the world we live in, we've lived in it since 2020. 48% of employees, stay remote, either full-time or part-time. So when we talk about the video encoder capabilities, when we talk about the, higher performance for real-time streaming, or AI and real-time RT cores to work together to get tasks more done quickly, you can allow group collaboration in real time as if they were literally in the same room, even though they may be scattered across a continent, or for that matter, scattered across a globe. So one final point, this is a bit of a joke on me. We talked about beta testing and neural filters in Adobe Photoshop. I was a beta tester for Photoshop back in '87, which probably accounts for my lack of hair on the top of my head.
So if you want to see that, you gotta head over to the YouTube channel so you can see Carl.
Right.
But yeah, and Carl, you hit there as well. Again, collaboration. Again, since the whole pandemic and everything like that, it really did change the world. It changed the workforce, and people used to go in, 5 days a week. Now it's like, hey, we got to step back and work from home. And Jerome's saying is in New Jersey, and I'm in Pennsylvania. It's not too far. We have other people, corporations that are like in the US, and you have people on the other side of the world. So it's like,
Exactly.
now we can collaborate with something like NVIDIA Omniverse Enterprise, and that gives you that collaborative opportunity to, like you said, Carl, see it in real time. So
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
really
and I'm in San Jose, so I'm basically on the other side
there
of the
you go.
country
Yeah.
from both of you. And
Exactly.
last week I was in Italy, so
Yeah.
even with the pandemic still going on, people have to get on with their lives and go places and do things.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it's
it-
I know Jerome and I are still upset, Carl. You didn't invite us to Italy.
Yeah, I
though,
know. Thanks for the invite.
Sorry, I had to invite my wife, and
Well, okay, then yeah, that's a pass. Yeah,
It's
she
all
comes
good.
first.
It's all good. No, but I
but
think yeah.
no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I think it's really important that now we're kind of working to be able to break down the barriers that were getting put up during 2020 and all the different things that have happened. Due to, again, being able to work from home and work remote, but again, still being able to be as collaborative as possible. And again, that just opens up so many different opportunities through Omniverse, through these different GPUs, with these different processing powers and the CUDA cores and all these different things that can actually help us be more collaborative in the long run.
Yeah, and then Carl, I know you wanted to say something, but before you go, I don't know if you're just gonna bring up, but like I did want to touch base with you as well in terms of simulation, because like that was something too. Yes, it's collaborative, but then also simulation to where you have a big enterprise, say, that's building this multi-million-dollar factory, and it's like, okay, let's build. Back in the day, you might have you'd build it, and then oh, we should have done this, and it's kind of like, well, now it's time and money. You can't really do that. To where now, like, can you go into like maybe a little bit about, I know you're probably gonna talk about NVIDIA Omniverse Enterprise and some simulation as well, because I think that's really important, especially with the power, of Ada Lovelace and the architecture, and just, I mean, the compute power overall that we have and available to us as a whole right now is great. And I think that is something that's like, again, it's a huge thing, because everyone says that time is money. So if you can run a simulation of what this factory is going to look like and how it's going to operate, and it kind of throws some red flags at you here and there, like, hey, you need to change this process to be more efficient, then you're doing all that, like Carlos said, in real time before you actually start building and construction and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this excellent topics all, so let's dive into them a little bit. The simple fact of the matter is, in the old days, you build out your factory, you'd put in robots. If you're, say, an automotive manufacturer, to do certain things like frame welding or painting, And they'd work alongside, human beings that would do things like install dashboards or seats, or, work on components, the wiring harness of the automobile. You had a very complex environment that's highly choreographed. And if anything gets in the way of anything else, it could cause problems. It could cause quality problems. It could potentially cause injuries to the humans working alongside the robots. It could cause damage to very expensive, automated equipment, the robots themselves. There are all kinds of reasons why you don't want to put a shovel in the ground, either ceremonially or, literally have the bulldozers and concrete trucks and, construction workers start building a facility until you know exactly how it will work.
Mhm.
And one of the wonderful things about NVIDIA Ada Lovelace, it is the first GPU architecture designed by NVIDIA with NVIDIA Omniverse in mind. NVIDIA Omniverse is a remote collaboration and simulation environment that, among other things, allows organizations to create digital twins. A digital twin can be a copy of a currently existing physical facility, or it could be kind of an idealized vision of what our next generation factory or distribution facility, for example, should look like. And with the compute capabilities, with the AI capabilities, with the rendering capabilities, you can literally see that facility. You can experience it with VR.
Yeah.
You can use AI to choreograph not just the behavior of robots, but autonomous equipment in the factory in such a way that it will safely work alongside the human production workers or other employees in the facility to optimize everyone's productivity and safety and overall performance. And that takes vast amounts of compute performance.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at a card like the, say, RTX 6000 Ada, if you're doing things that are AI related and you're using the FP8 data format we talked about, for the first time, a single card can deliver over a petaflop of AI performance when you use something called structural sparsity, which is a polite way of saying when you train a deep neural network, not all paths lead to the correct solution. So you can prune them out, kind of like going through a rose garden and cutting out the flowers that aren't doing well, aren't making the rose garden look good. Well, cut out the parts of the model that don't contribute to accurate inferencing. With the ray tracing capabilities, again, you're seeing this with photorealism. So if you're doing something like working with complex translucent plastics with curves, and you're very concerned about lighting and making sure that you're seeing it exactly as the product will ship to customers, you have that capability. With the amount of memory in a 6000 Ada, 48 gigabytes of GDDR6, you have the ability to store extremely complex designs. So it's not just about toy factories or toy facilities and someday having the ability to realize a quote unquote true digital twin. A company like BMW, for example, can use NVIDIA Ada Lovelace architecture workstation GPUs as well as data center GPUs, and create a digital twin of an entire automotive production facility and monitor the real physical facility in real time against the virtual facility and look for divergences. And if those divergences cause problems, they can be corrected, which improves productivity, improves product quality, reduces costs for the corporation. So when it comes to the ability of NVIDIA Omniverse to spark, if you will, collaboration from product or media and entertainment project conception to final delivery to customers, Ada and Omniverse were designed to be literally cut from the same cloth. And in fact, Ada Lovelace will accelerate Omniverse up to 4 times faster than the Gen-1 Ampere architecture, because it was designed with NVIDIA Omniverse and NVIDIA Omniverse Enterprise in mind.
Awesome.
Mm.
Listen, that's a lot of information to unpack, and again, yeah, just collaboration and simulation. I mean, all that plays a big part in today's world, and especially again, collaborative workflows from all over the world. You're again, Carl's in San Jose. We're in New Jersey right now, the headquarters. If we need to do something, there is a software and there is hardware that you can combine together and be able to accomplish that. So, Carl, we just want to say thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us for the episode. A lot of great information. We really appreciate it. I learned some stuff myself.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to
Oh,
Carl, I thought it's like a fountain of just
right.
like
A
just
wealth of
wealth of
knowledge.
knowledge. There you go.
Yeah.
Just like we just learn something every time we speak to you. So we greatly appreciate it, Carl.
Yes, thank you.
You're making me blush, but thank you.
And then before we sign off, Jerome, let everybody know where can they find us.
Yeah, make sure you follow us on all social accounts, again, at PNY Pro, as well as follow us on your favorite podcast channels, whether that's Spotify, YouTube. I know we also are going to be on Apple Music as well, and SoundCloud too. So make sure you check us out everywhere, PNY Pro.
Great. And yeah, before we close, just want to say, again, if you have any specific questions, let us know down below. We can always, that's great. Carl's part of the PNY family. So we can always get him on for another episode if you want us to dive just straight into AI or just collaborative workflows, anything specific, feel free to let us know down below and we'll make it happen. Until then, we'll see.
Being a product guy at heart and working for PNY, I should say that both the RTX 6000 Ada and RTX 4000 SFF Ada, which is ideal for compact, small form factor workstations, are available now, shipping in quantity. And NVIDIA has the greatest, broadest, deepest ISV adoption for RTX technologies. So literally, there's no other choice. If you want the best of real-time ray tracing, you want the best of collaboration, you want the best video encoding, you want the best of AI, you want the best of simulation, you need to be part of the NVIDIA ecosystem, because we've been focusing on hardware and kind of solutions. But the final point I'd like to make is there is a huge software stack across any industry that is fully optimized and ready to take advantage of NVIDIA RTX technology as implemented by Ada Lovelace right now.
Awesome. Well, you heard it from Carl himself. So
Yeah.
head on over to pny.com. And until then, we will see you in the next episode.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Jerome. And look forward to talking to everyone again soon.